Today we're going to talk about bird beaks, and I'm outside on my front porch on my swing, and I decided to come out here and fill up my bird feeder. So I have a bird feeder here, and I just put in it a bunch of bird feed. Here's what I put in it: some seeds that will attract songbirds. I'm gonna hang this up. And maybe by the time I'm done making my video, we'll see some birds eating. Did you know that there are over 10,000 species of birds in the world? Different species look, act, and sound different. They also eat a variety of different foods, such as seeds, which we know that, right? Worms, bugs and insects, nectar, pollen, nuts, fruits, berries, rodents, snakes, fish, and plants. Wow, what a list! So just like us, birds eat a variety of things. But unlike us, they only have one tool to eat their food. Can you take a guess at what tool I'm talking about? You guessed it, their beaks. They don't use tools and utensils like forks and knives and spoons and spatulas like we do to eat our food. All they have are their beaks. So a bird's beak plus the area that they live in helps determine what type of food that they can eat. So for example, if you were trying to eat soup, you wouldn't grab a fork, would you? Nah, you'd be grabbing a spoon. So Jacob's gonna help me explore some different birds, their beaks, and what they eat. So here we are at station 1 of birds' beaks. And at this station, Jacob is going to pretend he is a hummingbird. Hummingbirds have a special ability to drink nectar out of long, skinny flower parts, like this. So Jacob, we're gonna pretend this is nectar. So you're gonna pretend you're a hummingbird, and you are gonna select some of these tools. These tools represent different birds' beaks, okay? And you're going to figure out which one is best to move nectar from here into here, okay? Are you paying attention? Okay, try some beaks out and see which one works best. Can't really drink with tweezers, can you? What's that? Squeeze it and let go? Huh. Did you get some in there? Put it in here. Hey, you drank some nectar, didn't you? Now lift up. Lift all the way up and put it over here and let go. There you go. You drank with that, didn't you? All right, so out of all these tools, he's a pretty smart guy here. So he figured out that the straw and the dropper are the best tools to use to represent a hummingbird's beak, okay? Our second bird is the woodpecker. Woodpeckers eat little bugs out of trees, okay? All right, so try some different utensils out and see which ones are gonna work the best. Chopsticks, hey, that works pretty good, doesn't it? Tweezers. Do you think that works? No, you can't use your hands. Birds don't have hands, remember? They only have their beaks.
I got one.
But which was the easiest to use? The tweezers, yes. So tweezers represent the similar type of beak that a woodpecker would use to get small bugs out of trees. our third and fourth bird, I guess you could say, is the eagle and owl. So Jacob, what do eagles and owls eat?
I don't know.
You don't know? Do they eat plants? Or do they eat other animals?
I would go with other animals.
Yeah. So they are carnivores. They eat other animals and they eat the meat off of the other animals. So what would you use, what tool would you use to rip the meat or Play-Doh off of that stick? That's just a little teeny bit. They need to get big hunks of meat off of there.
Still.
No, not too good, is it? It's not real sharp, is it? Are chopsticks sharp?
You got some off.
A little bit, yeah. You know what those are?
Can openers.
Nutcracker. Would you use a nutcracker to cut meat? Think about cutting a steak. When we cut steaks to eat, would we use a nutcracker?
Nah. What can we?
Are you cutting big hunks of meat off?
Yeah.
So do you think the scissors would best represent the beaks, of an eagle or an owl? I think so too. Our next birds are sparrows and cardinals. They eat large nuts and they have some pretty hardcore beaks that can crack some nuts open. So Jacob, you have some pistachio nuts there that need cracked open because the seed's on the inside, right? So what would you use to crack open a nut? See, he's jabbing it with some scissors.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, that kind of worked, didn't it?
Yeah, well, let's try something else.
Okay. What about this big spoon? Could you crack open a nut with that? Hey, what about the nutcracker? Do you think you could crack open a nut with the nutcracker?
Hey, I forgot this was used.
That nut. Squeeze. There you go. There, look, the seed popped out. Now you can eat it.
Yeah.
Okay, Jacob, our next bird is a duck. So ducks, ducks eat lots of different things in the water, one of which are little plant particles. So what utensil would represent a duck beak in order to eat the plants out of this water? And try out some different bird beaks to see which one would be best to get the plant material out of that water. Nutcracker? You think a nutcracker? Chopsticks? Let's see, are you getting, oh, it kind of sticks to it, doesn't it? No, that wouldn't be very practical. Try it. Did you get any?
Yeah,
A
and
little
it
bit.
fell out.
Yeah, it fell out. Oh, did you get a lot there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that strainer is the best representation of a duck beak. Because when they're swimming along in a pond, their mouths kind of skim the water and collect their food. Our next bird is a wren. As you can see in this picture, wrens have long, skinny beaks, right? Wrens like to eat worms. They pick worms out of the ground and under logs and things. So try out some tools bills and see which one would best represent a wren's beak. Tweezers, they kind of worked. But what if these worms were way down in the ground and you needed to poke through and reach down in a long, narrow space? Scissors. Ooh, but it cut the worms. And then they dropped it. That wouldn't be good, would it? Would that reach down a long, narrow space, skinny space? What about the chopsticks? Ta-da! Last bird is the pelican. Jacob, do you know what pelicans eat?
Water. I don't know.
They probably drink water, but what do they eat? Other fish?
Are these fish?
Yes, so the sponges in the water there represent fish. And pelicans swim along the water and they scoop down, their bills scoop down and scoop up a bunch of fish with their water. So let's see, would tweezers work? Tweezers don't really scoop, do they? Aw, hey, look at that. You got a lot of fish just in one scoop.
Got even more fish.
Yeah, that one worked pretty good too.
All the orange ones are dead, I think. They got eaten.
So out of all the beaks, I would say the big spoon would represent the pelican the best. Look at that. Look at all that fish you got in one scoop. There we go. I have a bird on my bird feeder. All right, Jacob, it's time for a knock-knock joke. Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Luke.
Luke who?
Look out! I'm gonna get you!